I think it's safe to say this year for the Los Angeles Lakers, they've been a very big disappointment to a lot of people. The amount of hype that this team had, the amount of praise that they were getting, already being called a super team, even though they were yet to step on an NBA court together. And while this has been a terrible year for the Los Angeles Lakers, where there's no hope in sight right now, it's kind of crazy to think that one man is responsible for all of this happening. And no, I'm not talking about the Lakers organization as a whole. I'm not talking about the GM or anything like that. See, this person isn't even a part of the Los Angeles Lakers anymore. Let me explain. Today's video is sponsored by Manscaped.com, but we're going to talk about them later on in the video. Now, contrary to popular belief, a lot of you may or may not remember, but the Los Angeles Lakers were almost not able to trade for Russell Westbrook. And it wasn't their assets, which is definitely a problem that a lot of people saw, but it was something completely different. See, the Lakers didn't have that many assets. They had guys like Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell and other guys on their roster. And a lot of people thought that the Lakers really had no shot to get Westbrook just because they didn't have any assets. And there was only really one player that we knew was going to get traded regardless, which was Kyle Kuzma. Now, what most people did not consider is that the Lakers could not just trade almost nothing and get Russell Westbrook. One, because the Washington Wizards weren't that stupid, and number two, the Los Angeles Lakers did not have that much salary cap left. So if they were going to make a trade, they were going to have to trade some assets that had money towards them. More specifically, guys with weird contracts that somehow were going to able to add up to Russell Westbrook's $44 million he was going to be owed this year, which if you did not know is the biggest contract on the Los Angeles Lakers right now. I know Lakers fans are fuming at the fact that I just said that. And when free agency started, the Lakers were set to make a lot of moves. Some were very small, but most of them were not that big of contracts. However, the Lakers almost didn't even have that money in the first place. They were supposed to lose $30 million to another point guard that was not named Russell Westbrook. And that man is none other than Dennis Schroeder. Yes, Lakers fans, this is the person who has ruined your franchise for years to come. Now, Dennis Schroeder isn't the worst player in the NBA. However, Dennis Schroeder is not worth $30 million, which is why a lot of people were shocked when Dennis Schroeder turned down a contract that was about 4 years, $120 million. So I'm gonna note that this part of the story has been a little fishy. I've seen a lot of people change their minds, say that certain things weren't true, but luckily for you guys, I made a video about the Dennis Schroeder situation months ago when free agency was going on. So from what I remember and I've been reading, this is how the story goes. During the season, the Los Angeles Lakers knew that Dennis Schroeder was going to be a free agent, so they offered him a 4-year, $84 million deal. And in a hypothetical situation that it's exactly $84 million, not including incentives and everything, we're just going to say $21 million per season. Which I mean, $21 million for a guy that was averaging about 15 points per game and had been regressing as the season was starting to end is a little bit overpaid for someone. But for some reason, Dennis Schroeder declined the offer and said that he wanted more money. I thought he was dumb then, and a lot of people thought the same thing. But it seemed like that the goal he was going with is he was going to bet on himself during the playoffs that he was going to really take over and the Lakers were going to be forced to give him more money. Well, if you're a Phoenix Suns fan, then you know exactly what happened. Suns shocked the NBA and win in 6 games, and they send the Lakers home, first time in LeBron James's career that he was ever sent home in the first round. And Dennis Schroeder did not have a good playoff performance whatsoever, like at all. In fact, he somehow played a lot worse than he did during the actual regular season. So you might be asking, okay Spex, how much did they offer this guy that played really bad in the playoffs? Did they bring back their contract? Did they lower it? They offered this man a 4-year, $120 million contract, which shocked the whole NBA community as we all thought that there's no way Dennis Schroeder is worth $30 million. For some reason, the Los Angeles Lakers actually really liked Dennis Schroeder that much they were willing to pay him $30 million. And I'm not really good at NBA contract money. That is one thing as an NBA analyst I've never been good at, but I'm pretty sure that's not that far off from a max contract, especially what he was going to be able to get. And you want to know what he did? So if Dennis Schroeder signs this deal, that's $30 million less for the Lakers, and their free agency options are going to be very small. If they're going to sign many more people, it's going to be small contracts for about $1 to $2 million to maybe even the minimum for a couple years, if that. Also, there's probably going to be a lot of 1-year contracts. Now, to give you guys a full context of what's going on currently at the time of talking about this, it is August 3rd, 2021. However, if Dennis Schroeder is to decline this, then he's going to be a free agent and he can sign with whatever team he wants. And you would think a guy like Dennis Schroeder that is not worth $30 million would accept that contract, take the highway robbery, get his bag, and play mediocre basketball for the Lakers like he's been doing for the past couple seasons. The man declined the contract. According to a lot of reports, Dennis Schroeder turned down a 4-year, $120 million contract. According to a report at that time, there was something going around that the Chicago Bulls were going to offer him 5 years, $150 million, which thank God the Bulls did not, because they're playing really good this season, and I don't think Dennis Schroeder would have been a part of that. And from everything we heard, it seemed like that there was rumors that he was just going to sign with the Chicago Bulls because it was the better contract, which I can understand because there were some rumors going on that he was having problem with people in the Lakers like Kyle Kuzma and I think even LeBron. Plus you're getting an extra year worth $30 million, so I mean that's definitely not bad and you're pretty much set up for the rest of your career. But like I did mention, Dennis Schroeder did not sign that contract and he was a free agent and he was no longer interested in the Lakers. So now instead of being down $30 million, the Lakers have a lot of cap room that they could actually do something with. And with the money that the Lakers had, they were trying to get a max player or at least someone that was close to that. Now a lot of you guys probably know what does happen after this, but before we get into that, hey y'all, this video is sponsored by Manscaped.com, the #1 brand for men's grooming and hygiene products. Now normally when I'm talking about Manscaped, I'm telling you about their Performance Package 4.0, but they sent me 2 new products and I think we gotta talk about them. First product is Manscaped's brand new 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It's a hair washing conditioner and not only does it have a dual action formula, but it has a refined cologne quality fragrance. And after using it a couple times, I definitely am impressed, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm going to be incorporating this into my shower routine. Now of course stuff your hair is nice and all, but what about body wash? Just like the shampoo and conditioner, it has a refined cologne quality fragrance, and if you need any more convincing, then look at this. Marshawn Lynch himself is using Manscaped products. If you want to be like Marshawn Lynch and also use Manscaped products, make sure you guys go to Manscaped.com and use code Spex for 20% off your order whatever you do purchase. Guys, that's code Spex, 20% off. On top of that, you get international free shipping. The link will be in the description below, and thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. On August 6th, 3 days later, the same day as the NBA draft, the Russell Westbrook trade happened. And like I mentioned earlier on in the video, Russell Westbrook was a very expensive player, coming in at $44 million for just this season. And because they did not sign Dennis Schroeder, number one, they did not need 2 point guards, and on top of that, there was no way that the Lakers were going to be able to afford Westbrook and Schroeder at the same time. After declining his contract with the Lakers and the Bulls, Dennis Schroeder went on to play for the Celtics and is making $5.9 million for this season. In my opinion, everything that I've seen about Dennis Schroeder, if he's going to get paid $30 million, it better be for 3 to 4 years. But $30 million being the total, not just for one season. And there's the reason why I didn't blame the Lakers, because they literally were willing to give this man one of the worst NBA contracts we've seen in a long time. For once, the Lakers could not mess this up. This was only on Dennis Schroeder. Now yes, it's kind of cool that the Lakers did get Russell Westbrook and it was a lot prettier of an option than getting Dennis Schroeder back. Mind you, they still would have been able to get guys like Malik Monk and Kendrick Nunn and Dwight Howard and all of those other vets that they have on their team. However, they would not have been able to get Russell Westbrook, who to a lot of people has been ruining the Lakers season. And I think it's safe to say that a lot of Lakers fans, after seeing how Russell Westbrook has been playing, really wish that they would have just stuck with Schroeder. But with all that being said, if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you guys do leave a like on this and subscribe to the channel if you're new and notifications on. I will see you guys in the next video. Have an amazing day. Take care. Don't be like Dennis Schroeder.